I am just getting started here with our session all about starting up your baking business. Now, I want to make sure everything is good because I want to get a good recording. I want to make sure you can hear me. I also want to take any of your comments today. All right. I want to get a good recording. Good. Look at that. It's working. Okay. So great to see you today. My name is Melissa Fryer. If we've never met before, I'm the owner and the main mentor at Build a Better Bakery. What we do is we take bakers from all over the world in a lot of different situations and also levels, and we help them build better businesses. So if you're just starting out, like some of you today that are hanging out at this session, it's called Starting a Baking Business, What Now? Likely you're just getting started. So we definitely can help you. And if you're also a person who's been in it for a few years, you're looking to revamp, you're looking to cut the fat, you're looking to expand, hire your first employee, open a second store, whatever it is, we also help with that. So it's really kind of spinning the spectrum of what we're doing with our businesses. You just essentially need an open mind and you want a new path for yourself. That's what we are good at helping with. So if you have never hung out with us before, you're just looking for more joy, less stress while you're dealing with your baking business, then you are in the right place. Go ahead and throw up your hashtag replay if you ever view this on the replay so that I know you've seen the content. The theme for our month is, well, here at Build a Better Bakery, we're using themes for every month just to keep the information geared towards certain groups of bakers. This month, it's Savvy Startup. So when you see me here on a hashtag Thursday Fave session, every week, you will see information about starting up. And once you make that exciting decision to actually go forward and start the process of getting set up wherever you're at, then we need to chat about those first steps so that you can legally open. I'm saying this because it's pretty simple to open a business illegally, and you could probably make some money, you could probably sell some stuff on the side, but usually things start to snowball, something happens, and you have to shut down because of XYZ. And I don't want that for you because I know you're probably an amazing baker and your heart's in the right place. So let's just talk about how to legally get set up so that you can go through that process and you won't have that looming over your head that something might happen where you have to shut down. We're going to cover just what I think are the most important things to get legally set up. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. If you have other things that you've had to do, put them in the comments because every place is different. And because this is a worldwide group, I want to make sure we're getting a good consensus of what everyone's needing to do to get set up in their area. I will also be giving away a 60-minute full strategy session, which is kind of like the nitty-gritty session that a lot of the bakers choose to go with because they want a really good mentorship session. Those are worth $75 US dollars. I'm giving one of those away at the end of this call. I'm going to take everyone's name that puts in the hashtag live. So if you are here live, you get to use hashtag live to enter, and I'll choose someone to get a free session. Looks like Jessica's already entered, so she's got a hashtag live. Awesome. All right, now to stay in the know about these, check the events in the Facebook group, send me your friend request so I can invite you to each of them. Hang out on the email list where I send replay links, but they're usually later. So if I'm doing something quick like this, giveaways, discounts, that kind of stuff, you'll likely miss it in the emails, but you still get the info. So if that's easiest for you, you can do that. You can also check YouTube. We have replays there as well. But here, Thursday, 9 a.m. Pacific time, Pacific Standard Time. I'll get it. Every week is when I like to show up in the group. That may change because we're going to be moving soon, but for now, that's what we're going to stick with. Okay, we're going to jump right in. Like I said, if you're interested in starting your baking business and you're not sure how to start up legally, then this is exactly the session for you. The first thing I want you to do is watch the video I have pinned in the featured. I can even link it here later. Because that video, the first one from the month, is more about if you should start your business. I covered 3 important areas to look at to decide, because sometimes we're not even sure if it fits into our lifestyle. That was the purpose of the first video. So I want you to watch that if you haven't already. It does mention that I want you to check your local laws because sometimes those can determine if it even makes sense for you. As an example, there are certain states in the US that don't allow the use of butter. Okay, well, if you can't use butter, is that even, do you even want to mess around with baking. Or there are other states that say if you have pets or children in the home, you can't bake there, right? So if you're working from home, there are some kind of interesting laws that I want you to look at before you even invest any money, buy anything, etc. So you're going to check the laws. And what will happen is you will find out, okay, who am I going to, right? You're going to find out, is there an entity that I need to be talking to that's going to govern what I'm doing, either commercially or at home? Who's going to be inspecting your space? Who's making these laws? I want you to figure out who they are, get their phone number, and call them. Yes, you're going to have to talk to strangers. Yes, you're going to have to call people when you have a business. That's just part of it. It's likely going to be your local health department, or it's likely going to be your agricultural department, sometimes in more rural areas, which I've been in a place where I had to do that. Those are usually the entities that deal with this. What I want you to ask for is a list of what you need to start your food business, either commercial or cottage, legally. They should have some kind of list, checklist, email, blog post, something that you can read to figure out what it is that you have to do. Likely, it's going to be, if you're at home, a certain home setup. You might have to put up a gate. You might have to have an extra door installed. You might realize that you can't bake from home, whatever it is. I want you to look at that. And then you might also have to do certain product labels. You might have inspections that need to be done. So either of your kitchen or your food truck or whatever it is. You might have permits for the places that you plan to sell. So it could be your state permit, it could be your city permit, it could be your your neighborhood permit if they have that. I don't know. Like I said, every place is so different. So you do need to check what it is that you need in your area, and more. There's going to be more. Some places are so vague that you can start a business today and never do anything else. Some places have a long laundry list. So we just have to figure out which kind of place are you in. These steps, just so that you are aware, these steps may or may not include fees, paperwork, lots of wait time, etc. So I want you to look at this first right away when you decide to start, so you know what to expect and you can create a timeline for yourself. All right, number 3, you're going to check with your state on what it looks like to sell items in your area. Again, going to be different. You may need to collect sales tax at a certain rate or even multiple rates, city rates versus state rates, etc. So you're going to need to know what those numbers are if that is required of you. I will say that some states don't require bakeries to do this. So you might get off the hook on that, but you might not. I need you to check. Usually you're going to be talking to someone in a state office about this who deals with tax revenue or who deals with businesses. You may need to also apply for a sales permit in your area, usually free, pretty simple, but it might be something you have to have on hand. And you might need to register your business with certain entities. Like if you're selling at the farmer's market, you might need to register with them. Sometimes they require extra stuff like insurance and food handlers cards and things. So you're going to need to get a list of what they need from you. You can look also into applying for your free DBA, doing business as name, from your state. I've never heard of it costing anything. It should be free, but that's also something to help protect your business name and something you can get set up. Again, those are statewide normally, meaning if someone's in another state, they could have the same name as you. So if you're talking trademark, US trademark, that's a whole other thing. That does cost money and that does take a lot of time. It's not the purpose of this video, but that you can look into a trademark if you decide that that's something you want to pursue. So all of these options are going to be based on your needs. Some people have a lot of needs, some people don't. And also what your area requires. Some people have no taxes to pay. Some people have 3 multiple taxes to use to fill. Okay, so it is very different. Number 4, you'll likely be, did I tell you to get a notebook and a pen? You might need a notebook and a pen, or you can watch the replay. Number 4, you will likely be required to have a current food safety class certificate. This is often something that's listed even here in my small little place that permits me. That is required by them. They require insurance and they require a food handler's card. Not every place is going to do that. If you're selling in an area like a farmer's market or someplace that's kind of like owned by an entity, they likely require these as well. They don't want you to tarnish their reputation. So you might need a current food safety class certificate, like something at servesafe.com, which is a very popular online option, or a local class that's sometimes given by certain entities. Sometimes at the agricultural department sometimes does this for people using their kitchen, et cetera. So just kind of look around to see what's available. If it's not required, you don't have to do it, but I will say that it is a great thing to, first of all, be in the know about food safety. If you've never taken a class, if you've never worked in a kitchen or food service, you've likely, some of it is common sense, but some of it is kind of like, oh, okay, that makes sense, right? It just helps you be a better food preparer. And then you get to say that you're food safety certified, and you can have that card with you so that if you ever need to use a vendor that requires that, if you need to set up at a certain like wedding venue that requires that, you already have it on hand. It's super professional to have that. So I think that that's a good thing for you to do, to let people know that you care about your business. And as well as whenever you are looking at the ins and outs of your business and cash flow, right? You can deduct what you're spending on that in your costs as when you're filing your taxes in the US. So, you know, that's a good thing, right? Like you do have to pay for it usually, but you can use it as a deduction. All right, number 5, if you need an inspection of your space, whatever your space is, likely you will. A lot of states are kind of like lax with cottage foods. So sometimes not. If you're commercial, yes, 100% you will likely have an inspection. It would be a very specific situation or an interesting situation if you didn't have one. So likely you'll have some kind of inspection at some point in your career. Now, if you're going to have one, you can usually get a checklist first. So it's not like they're showing up and being like wrong, and you get an F, you know, like grading you. It doesn't have to be that way. Usually you can request the checklist first so that you can get everything set up correctly before they come in to inspect. And you can begin obtaining what you need before anyone comes and says you're doing it wrong, right? So I also want you to look at scheduling your inspection now, because the wait time can sometimes be long with these, and I don't want you to get caught up in waiting for your inspection. You'll likely need things like a fridge and freezer temp gauge. You can just order packs of them online, super simple. You might need certain areas set up, things up off the floor. You might need to buy some shelving. You might need special bins to keep things separated, or labeling, however you want to label things, to have a system for that. You might need specific cleaners or products for sanitation on hand. There's a list, right? Your space is also going to determine what you have and also what you're making. Those are usually some of the biggest that, you know, someone looking at your space is going to inspect for. And also just general cleanliness, the pets in the home, the kids in the home, that kind of thing, depends on, again, where you're at. Okay, hey, Demetria, Cindy, good to see you. Remember, if you're here live, throw up your hashtag live so you can be entered in for the free strategy session. I'm giving the whole $75 1-hour session, one away to one person who comments hashtag live or has a comment in the live stream. Okay, now moving on to number 6, consider your tax status before you start selling products. Now, I know this can be a hairy one because sometimes people start selling, but they're not really thinking about taxes or paying taxes. They don't know if they're going to make anything. Here in the US, the amount of money that you bring in is fairly low. So I think that if you're going to sell things, you're likely going to hit that cap. So I would suggest just thinking about this before you actually go forward. Most bakers who work alone are either a sole proprietor or a single member LLC. Those are just the 2 most common that I see. I do not work for the IRS, so I actually don't know statistics of that. That is just what I see and hear because of the way the benefits of the 2 kind of match a single person service industry job. A common myth, and I've seen it in the group multiple times now, a common myth is that you must be an LLC to have a business. That's absolutely not true. You do not have to be a limited liability corporation to have a business. That doesn't make any, no. So don't think that you have to do that. That does not have to be a hurdle that you have to cross to have a business. It's just not, you can be a sole proprietor. That's like the first step. That's where you're filing your taxes, your business taxes with your personal social security number, and it's all kind of under one umbrella. That's a ton of people are sole proprietors, including myself. So that is where most people start. And if that makes the most sense for you, then start there. You do not have to jump to an LLC just because, okay? Usually a sole proprietor, when you're saying, hey, that's a sole proprietorship is how I want to run my business, that usually doesn't include a lot of extra paperwork or fees or anything like that, because you're just filing something separately when it comes tax time. So you don't have to set anything up really, right? And again, I am not a CPA. This is just my opinion. Just my opinion. So please check locally with whatever's going on with your finances. This is just what I have experience with. You can get a free EIN, which is the entity, what is it? I can't remember what it stands for right now. The free EIN from the IRS, that's like a different social security number for your business. Those should be free, and you should be able to apply for that on the IRS website. So if people are charging you for those, you don't have to do that. You can do it yourself. There's a page right on the IRS. You can just search EIN and it'll show you exactly what to do. Another myth is you have to have that. You don't. It is a protection for your social security number to have it. And because it's free and available, yes, you could definitely do that. But you don't have to, okay? And if you're considering something like an LLC, I really want you to consider to understand what you need to do before you start selling, because an LLC has very particular rules to it. And what I don't want you to do is mess with your finances and what's happening because you're selling already, but you want to be an LLC, and then you become an LLC, and then maybe you had poor management of what you needed to do for the LLC. And I don't want your protections to be compromised by that. So definitely get with someone locally who sets these up to talk to them about your specific situation. I will say it does not apply well to everyone. It does not apply well to me. That's why I don't have it. It is often more paperwork and higher fees as well. So like in the state of California, it's $800 a year right now to have that. So think about how many sales you would have to make that make sense. If that was, if you're thinking about your finances. That actually isn't the reason for me. It's mostly because I'm a military spouse and I move all the time. So I'd have to liquidate, and it's a mess. So I don't use that. Now I want you to just double check before you make some, maybe hopefully not, but make a mistake because you were, in between the two and not understanding them. I want you to know which one is best for you. Number 7, if you're required to remit sales tax to your area, make sure to collect that with each sale. So that means if you charge $7 for something, you need to apply the tax to the end of it so that you're not paying taxes out of what you think was income. Okay. So I want you to know those numbers first so that you can apply it while you're making the sale. And then you're going to remit on the schedule that the state rep, whatever the state rep said you need to do. Do you need to send it in yearly, monthly, whatever it is, quarterly? Just follow what they're doing and make sure you're up to date on that. Remember, you're going to be paying 30% of your income to taxes when you file. That's common. That is how sole proprietorship or entrepreneurship works. If no one else is helping you pay your taxes like an employer, usually they pay 15% and you pay 15% and it comes out of your paycheck. That's not how it works when you work for yourself, because that 30% is getting paid one way or another. And now it's you paying the full 30%. And it comes out of the income that you're claiming at tax time. So if you're charging, a certain amount of money per hour, add 30% to that or something similar, because you're going to end up giving that to taxes. So if you want to make a certain dollar amount, add 30% so that your taxes are covered. You can also, which is what I do, is set up a savings account where I can collect those funds. I push it away every month so I don't ever take it out or use it. And then when it comes tax time and taxes are due, you just take the money out and pay it. It's very painless I'm not gonna say it's totally painless. It's less painless that way because you don't have to scrounge around for the money. It's already there. All right, and then the very last one is consider carrying liability insurance because you have a business, because you're dealing with food, because you're likely going onto other people's property, they're coming onto your property. Having some kind of liability insurance that's tied to your business is always a smart idea. And a really affordable one is flip.com. If you've never heard of them, it's the Flip program for food businesses specifically, but you might want to get a bigger personal liability from maybe your current insurance provider or someone else. So definitely look at a brokerage for insurance if you're looking for something else. But flip.com is really popular for food. Note again, another myth. An LLC is not like insurance. They are not the same thing. So if you have an LLC, that's like a protection, but it's not a payout situation. Insurance is like they cover things if things happen. They're not the same. So definitely double check that you know the difference between the two, the protections, right, that they're providing you and how they're different. Likely you'll need both if you decide to have the LLC, but even if you don't, you'll still probably need some kind of insurance. Like I said, some venues require it. Some people that you cater for are going to require it. And again, it just looks very professional and it's a deduction. So definitely give that a check. I know that was a lot. I wanted to make sure that when you left this session, you weren't questioning, why didn't she say that? Why didn't she mention that? These are the most important ones to me. Again, if you think of something else, put it in the comments, we can discuss it. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, send me a DM or comment here and we can discuss further. I really want to make sure you feel comfortable with this, because the last thing that I want is for you to have a baking business dream and then be scared to start because you don't know what to expect. Okay. To recap, check the laws in your area, contact your local permitting department, which are usually listed in the law area, right? You can look at forager.com, where they have a lot of information in one place, or your state.gov website that talks about your state's laws. After you contact them, you're going to get a list. Hopefully they have a list or something for you to look at of what you need to do to set up legally. I want you to have that like first day so that you know how to prepare. Check in on your local sales tax, call your state, your government, whatever group, and ask them, hey, I'm going to start a small business. Who do I talk to? They could link you to whoever it is that you need to speak to. I want you to figure out if you need to collect sales tax or not and how much, so you don't start selling without doing that, because then you're going to have to pay taxes from what you sold and then you'll lose money. I don't want you to do that. Okay, you're going to consider your tax status before you start selling. So just look at the difference on the IRS website, not a weird blog. An IRS website, what's the difference between sole proprietorship, LLC, and then in your state, what's the cost, right? Make a little pros and cons list and just decide where you want to start. Lastly, those two things to consider to help your business be more professional and be more prepared as a business owner. Food handlers course from servesafe.com if you want to do it online, or insurance, you can try flip.com if you want an affordable food handlers insurance. Okay, those are the most basic. That's the smallest nutshell that I could get all of that information into. Tiana says, I'm getting ready to PCS, patiently waiting to see where to next, hoping to go somewhere easy to reset up. Me too. I don't know what's happening. It's either going to be Texas or Kansas. So I've been doing too much prep and then they like changed everything on me. So I'm just going to try to ease my anxiety now. And I'm just going to wait until I know for sure. I hope so too. I hope that you can just get started, set up. Every time I've reset up multiple times now, and every time it gets easier because I'm not scared about it anymore. You know, like I know, I just gave it to you. Here's all the steps that you got to do in each place. You just got to call some people, get the info, and then get it done. So I think hopefully, yes, your area is kind to bakers. And I want to mention before I hop off here, again, make sure you got your hashtag live if you want to enter for the free mentorship session that I'm giving away at the end of this. But I want to mention that every place is going to be different. I've said it a few times, but I cannot stress that every single person's situation is different. So when you're talking to someone, they might not have the direct information. You need to call the people locally that you're going to be working with to get the information you need. They're the ones that are going to be able to help you, or your .gov website for your state. That's where the best information is. Even though there are websites that are kind of helpful, they might not be up to date. So I want you to just call the people locally so they can tell you what needs to be done and you can set up the way that they require. The local permitting agency should have all the info that you need. You can check forager.com. It usually has a lot of information all in one place with links to these people. The most up-to-date information they have on labeling and where you can sell and how much you can make and how many employees you can have and all that if you're doing cottage business. The health department is who you're going to be contacting if you're doing commercial. Now, I wanted to mention too, you can feel free to hop onto my calendar. Everyone gets that free 20-minute quick win session with me. Everyone gets one. So if this is the topic that you want to talk about, go pick your time and we'll chat about what you're doing to get set up. Maybe meet with, you can talk to me first, or you can talk to them first, and then we can have our meeting and talk about what needs to happen. Or if you want a full session, that 60-minute session where we can get into the nitty-gritty of getting you set up, that's fine too. That's a paid session. It's usually $75. If you comment the live on this session, you could definitely win one of those $75 sessions with me. So make sure you do that. I am going to wrap up for the day. I'm going to go pack up lemon bars and brownies, which are going to probably be the last batches I make of these here. So it's a sad day. And I'm going to bake some cupcakes for Mother's Day. So I'm going to go do that. I do hope you all have the best day, and I will see you in a few weeks. So I am going on a small girls' vacation to Austin, Texas for a little yeehaw time. So you won't see me next week, but I will plan and post some kind of hot take info on our 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time scheduled day and time so that you have something next week. There's not going to be a video or any live sessions next week because I'll be gone and taking a little break. My DMs are open if you need resources or links, or you just want to chat a little bit privately, that's fine too. All right, I'm not seeing any questions. So again, if you have some later and you're on the hashtag replay, put them in the comments and we'll chat. I hope you all have a great day and a nice week, and I hope you stay safe out there, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Okay, bye.